Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to 365 Days of Love and Miracles with A Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Geres, and I'm so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right until the very end, because we have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe down below, because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 340. I can be free of suffering today. This is our 10th and final lesson under the section, What is the Ego? Before we read today's lesson, we are asked to read that section, so let's do that now. The ego is idolatry, the sign of limited and separated self, born in a body, doomed to suffer and end its life in death. It is the will that sees the will of God as enemy and takes a form in which it is denied. The ego is the proof that strength is weak and love is fearful. Life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true. The ego is insane. In fear, it stands beyond the everywhere, apart from all, in separation from the infinite. In its insanity, it thinks it has become a victor over God himself. And in its terrible autonomy, it sees the will of God has been destroyed. It dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams. Its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. The Son of God is egoless. What can he know of madness and the death of God when he abides in him? What can he know of sorrow and of suffering when he lives in eternal joy? What can he know of fear and punishment, of sin and guilt, of hatred and of attack, when all there is surrounding him is everlasting peace, forever conflict-free and undisturbed in deepest silence and tranquility? To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts, its works, its acts, its laws, and its beliefs, its dreams, its hopes, its plans for its salvation, and the cost belief in it entails. In suffering, the price for faith in it is so immense that the crucifixion of the Son of God is offered daily at its darkened shrine, and blood must flow before the altar where its sickly followers prepare to die. Yet will one lily of forgiveness change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions to the shrine of life itself, and peace will be restored forever to the holy minds which God created as his Son, his dwelling place, his joy, his love, completely his, completely one with him. Let's talk about it. We've been studying these lessons for over 11 months now, and right from the beginning, we were learning about how the ego distorts our thinking. When we see the world through the eyes of the ego, we see fear, we see pain, we see suffering. There are only two ways of being. One is fear and the other is love. God shows us how to see through the eyes of love. And when we do that, we leave the world of suffering behind. We don't need it anymore. This has been a revolutionary experience for me. When I was first introduced to the Course in Miracles, I really didn't even understand the ego. The Course has really helped me to gain a better understanding of how the ego tries to hold us down, keep us stuck, keep us unhappy, and only God can deliver us from that way of seeing, my friends. When we ask for God's vision, we are relieved of the ego, and we come home to the truth of who we are as God's beautiful, beloved children. Let's read lesson 340. I can be free of suffering today. Is there anyone here who doesn't want to be free of suffering? The ego tells us that we need to suffer. There's something about suffering that makes us feel like a martyr. There are gifts in suffering. We gain some sort of strange attention for it. The insanity in that is that we are willing to accept suffering over God's peace, God's joy, and God's happiness. Which do you choose, my friend? I can be free of suffering today, and so can you. Today's lesson starts with a prayer, so if you'd like to close your eyes. Father, I thank you today and for the freedom I am certain it will bring. This day is holy, for today your Son will be redeemed. His suffering is done, for he will hear your voice directing him to find Christ's vision through forgiveness and to be free forever from all suffering. Thanks for today, my Father. I was born into this world, but to achieve this day and what it holds in joy and freedom for your Holy Son and for the world he made, which is released along with him today. We will hear Christ's voice directing us to do our forgiveness work. Is there anyone that you need to forgive today, my friends? Almost every day brings me forgiveness opportunities. So I am guessing that you probably have forgiveness opportunities as well. Let's pay attention. Any time that we're upset for any reason, there's probably some forgiveness work to do. So let's do that today. Let's place our grievances in the hands of God. Let's choose to bless our brothers and our sisters. When we do that, we are freed from all suffering. We came to this world to learn these lessons, my friends. We came to this world to accept that we are redeemed and our brothers and sisters are redeemed alongside us. When we learn these lessons, we are given the gifts of freedom and joy as we release the world along with us. Let's finish the reading. I want you just to let your hearts leap as I read these words. Be glad, be glad. There is no room for anything but joy and thanks today. Our Father has redeemed his Son this day. Not one of us but will be saved today. Not one who will remain in fear, and none the Father will gather to himself, awake in heaven in the heart of love. Aren't those beautiful words? Can you feel the joy? Can you feel the happiness? Can you feel the freedom? Be glad today. This is an order, my friends. God is telling us to be glad. Why would we not want to be glad? Let us embrace God's promises as delivered to us through these beautiful messages. Be glad today. Be glad. There is no room for anything but thanks and joy today. We are redeemed through God our Father. He is calling us home. He wants us to abide in him. He wants us to receive his incredible gifts of perfect goodness, joy, peace, and happiness. Be glad today. We do not need to have any fear for anything ever again, for we are safe in our Father's loving arms. Do you start your day with thanks for the freedom that God is bringing us, my friends? Gratitude is one of the very most important practices that we can put into our lives. My husband and I always start our day with a prayer that goes like this. Thank you, God, for the gift of this brand new day. Please give us your mind to think, your ears to hear, your eyes to see, your words to speak, and your heart to love. And when we do that, it sets our day up, and you cannot have a bad day when you start your day in gratitude and you ask for God's gift of sight, hearing, vision, speech, and love. We have learned, as we have been doing these 340 lessons, that yesterday is gone, tomorrow does not exist. Only this precious moment is true. This is all there is. This is all there ever will be. This is called the holy instant. This day is holy. Every day is holy, my friends. When we recognize that, we are going to be dancing with joy as we see our own holiness and the holiness in all living things. We have been redeemed from the beginning of time. Today we are reinforcing our redemption as God's beautiful, beloved children. We have come home. We are resting safe in the arms of our loving Father. Our suffering is done. There is no need to suffer 1 second longer, my friends. We can be glad today. We are all free of suffering today. For our practice sessions today, we are asked to read or listen to today's lesson and then just sit in a silent meditation as we allow these ideas to sink deep in our beings. For our hourly meditations, we simply sit with today's idea. I can be free of all suffering today as we allow this idea to sink deep into our beings and we experience God's joy, peace, and happiness. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love. Tell someone about these videos. Encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do 1 lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat? Thanks to my friend Susan Edge for this glorious picture of the birds frolicking in the bay in Mexico. They are glad. Be glad today. Be glad. Have a joyous day, my friends. I love you.